You know, in the world of high-stakes diplomacy, some moves follow the playbook, and others just tear the whole thing up. Today, we are absolutely looking at one of those moments.
Think about it. You've got two of the planet's most powerful, most unpredictable leaders. And when they start moving pieces on the same chessboard, the entire world has no choice but to watch, because
the stakes are never small. And boom, that's exactly what's happening right now. News is breaking that former President Trump has quietly sent a personal envoy to meet with none other than Vladimir Putin.
I mean, this is a stunningly unconventional move. It completely bypasses all the traditional diplomatic channels, and it's raising some serious, urgent questions all across the globe.
Okay, so here's the breakdown. At the heart of all this is a secret mission. Donald Trump has sent his close ally, real estate magnate Steve Witkoff, directly to Moscow. And the stated purpose? To start some kind of exploratory peace talks about the war in Ukraine. And you can bet the Kremlin didn't just sit back and watch. Their reaction was immediate, and it was hostile. They shot back, accusing NATO of pre-emptive strike rhetoric, which just ratchets up the tension right as these back-channel talks are supposedly starting. Let's be clear, this is not how things are normally done. By operating completely outside of official government channels, this whole mission just cranks the geopolitical risk level all the way up to red.
So, what is actually going on behind those closed doors? Let's get into what we know so far about this very secret back-channel mission.
All right, so here's the really complicated picture we're looking at. You've got a Trump confidant in Moscow holding these informal early-stage talks. That's Trump's first big diplomatic play in the war. But at the same time, Russia's cranking up the pressure. While Ukraine is standing firm on its non-negotiable bottom line, no peace without its full territory back. All these pieces are pulling in completely different directions.
So what's on the table? Well, from what we're hearing, they're floating ideas like ceasefire corridors and prisoner exchanges. But the big one, the really contentious point, is a potential temporary freeze of the current front lines. And that has massive implications for everybody.
And you can imagine, this move is causing some major waves over in Europe. It's creating a deep division among America's traditional allies. Some are kind of hopeful, thinking maybe this is a path to peace, but others are genuinely alarmed by the whole thing.
And it's no surprise, right? This strategy is proving to be incredibly polarizing. It's kicked off this really intense debate between the critics and the supporters.
Okay, so here are the two sides of the coin. The critics are basically saying, whoa, hold on a second. A real estate developer is not a diplomat. They're worried that bypassing official channels is dangerous, and their biggest fear is that a quick, rush deal could actually end up rewarding Russian aggression. But then you've got the supporters. They see it totally differently. They're saying this is exactly the kind of decisive action that's needed, arguing that, hey, traditional diplomacy has been stalled for 3 years. For them, maybe a direct business-style negotiation is the only way to finally break this deadlock.
And this really gets to a core truth in politics, doesn't it? It doesn't really matter what the intention behind this mission is. What truly matters is how it's perceived by allies, by enemies, and by all of us.
And where do we see this perception playing out in real time? Well, of course, online. Let's take a look at the explosive global debate that's just erupted. It is a total firestorm on social media, just as you'd expect. Two competing stories, two narratives about this mission are taking shape, and they're battling it out right now.
So, on one hand, you've got this narrative gaining a lot of steam with his supporters. The idea that Trump is boldly stepping into the role he's always wanted, the global deal maker, the guy who cuts through all the red tape to solve a problem nobody else can.
But then you flip the coin, and the opposing view is just as powerful. A lot of people fear that this is a naive move, and that he's being expertly played by a master strategist in Vladimir Putin.
And you can literally see this divide just by looking at the hashtags blowing up right now. They range from these hopeful calls for peace like hashtag Ukraine peace to these stark warnings like hashtag NATO warning and hashtag diplomacy or danger. The world is clearly split right down the middle on this.
So it all boils down to this one massive question. Is this a genuine push for peace, or is it just a calculated power play? And right now, an incredibly uncertain future is hanging in the balance.
I mean, the two possible outcomes here could not be more different. The single diplomatic gamble could be the first step on a long road to peace, or it could trigger a new, maybe even more dangerous rift between the West and its allies.
And so here we are. As these two massive figures dominate the board once again, the whole world watches, and the whole world holds its breath.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. Is what we're seeing a bold move to break a deadlock and actually forge peace?
Or is it a dangerous shortcut with consequences that none of us can even imagine yet? The answer is going to shape the world we live in.
You know, in the world of high-stakes diplomacy, some moves follow the playbook, and others just tear the whole thing up. Today, we are absolutely looking at one of those moments.
Think about it. You've got two of the planet's most powerful, most unpredictable leaders. And when they start moving pieces on the same chessboard, the entire world has no choice but to watch, because
The stakes are never small. And boom, that's exactly what's happening right now. News is breaking that former President Trump has quietly sent a personal envoy to meet with none other than Vladimir Putin.